Wouldn't, though. Thomas Pierce was still out there somewhere, and Mr. Smith and all the rest of them. For some reason, I felt it was my responsibility to make them all go away, to make things a little safer for everyone. "Earth to Daddy," Jenny said. She had a small frown on her face. "See? You went away again. You were with Mr. Smith, weren't you?" Christine can save you if anyone can, if it's possible for you to be salvaged at this point in your life. I got to her place around 6:30 that night. I told her I would pick her up out in Mitchellville. My side was hurting again, and I definitely felt like damaged goods, but I wouldn't have missed this for anything. She came to the front door in a bright tangerine sundress and heeled espadrilles. She looked slightly beyond great. She wore a bar pin with tiny silver bells. She did have bells on. "Bells?" I smiled. "You bet. You thought I was kidding?" I took her in my arms, right there on the red brick front stoop, with blooming red and white impatiens and climbing roses all around us. I hugged Christine tightly against my chest, and we started to kiss. I was lost in her sweet, soft mouth, in her arms. My hands flew up to her face, lightly tracing her cheekbones, her nose, her eyelids. The shock of intimacy was rare and overwhelming. So good, so fine, and missing for such a long time. I opened my eyes and saw that she was looking at me. She had the most expressive eyes I'd ever seen. "I love the way you hold me, Alex," she whispered, but her eyes said much more. "I love your touch." We backed into the house, kissing again. "Do we have time?" she laughed. "Shh. Only a crazy person wouldn't. We're not crazy." "Of course we are." The bright tangerine sundress fell away to the floor. I liked the feeling of Shantung, but Christine's bare skin felt even better. She was wearing Shalimar, and I liked that too. I had the feeling that I had been here before with her, maybe in a dream. It was as if I had been imagining this moment for a long time, and now it was here. She helped me with the white lace demi-bra. We slid down the matching panties, 2 pairs of hands working together. Then we were naked, except for the fine rope necklace with the fire opal around her neck. I remembered a poem, something magical about the nakedness of lovers, but with just a touch of jewelry to set it off. Baudelaire? I bit gently into her shoulder. She bit back. I was so hard it hurt. The pain was exquisite. The pain had its own raw power. I loved this woman completely. I was also turned on by her, every inch of her being. "You know," I whispered, "you're driving me a little crazy." "Oh? Just a little?" I let my lips trail down along her breasts, her stomach. She was lightly scented with perfume. I kissed between her legs, and she began to gently call my name, then not so gently. I entered Christine as we stood against the cream living room wall, as we seemed to push our bodies into the walls. "I love you," I whispered. "I love you, Alex." She was strong and gentle and graceful, all at the same time. We danced, but not in a metaphorical sense. We really danced. I loved the sound of her voice, the softest cry, the song she sang when she was with me like this. Then I was singing too. I'd found my voice again, for the first time in many years. I don't know how long we were like that. Time wasn't a part of this. Something in it was eternal, and something was so very real, and right now, in the present. Christine and I were soaking wet. Even the wall behind me was slippery and wet. The wild ride at the beginning, the rocking and rolling, had transformed itself into a slower rhythm that was even stronger. I knew that no life was right without this kind of passion. I was barely moving inside her. She tightened around me, and I thought I could feel the edges of her. I surged deeper, and Christine seemed to swell around me. We began to move into each other, trying to get closer. We shuddered and got closer still. Christine climaxed, and then the two of us came together. We danced and we sang. I felt myself melting into Christine, and we were both whispering, yes, 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 yes. No one could touch us here. Not Thomas Pierce. No one. Hey, did I tell you I loved you? Yes, but tell me again. Kids are so damn much smarter than we usually give them credit for. Kids know just about everything, and they often know it before we do. You two are late. You have a flat tire? Or were you just smooching? Janet wanted to know as we came in the front door. She can say some outrageous things and get away with them. She knows it and pushes the envelope every chance she gets. We were smooching, I said. Satisfied? Yes, I am, Janet smiled. Actually, you're not even late. You're right on time. Perfect timing. Dinner with Nana and the children wasn't an anticlimax. It was such a sweet, funny time. It was what being home is all about. We all pitched in and set the table, served the food, then ate with reckless abandon. The meal was swordfish steaks, scalloped potatoes, summer peas, buttermilk biscuits. Everything was served piping hot, expertly prepared by Nana, Janny, and Damon. Dessert was Nana's world-famous lemon meringue pie. She made it especially for Christine. I believe the simple yet complex word I'm searching for is joy. It was so obvious around the dinner table. I could see it in the bright and lively eyes of Nana, Damon, and Janny. I had already seen it in Christine's eyes. I watched her at dinner, and I had the thought that she could have been somebody famous in Washington. Anything she wanted to be. She chose to be a teacher, and I loved that about her. We repeated stories that had been in the family for years, and are always repeated on such occasions. Nana was lively and funny all through the night. She gave us her best advice on aging. If you can't recall it, forget it. Later on, I played the piano and sang rhythm and blues songs. Janny showed off and did the cakewalk to a jazzy version of Blueberry Hill. Even Nana did a minute of jitterbugging, protesting, "I really can't dance, never could," as she did just beautifully. One moment, one picture sticks out in my mind, and I'm sure it will be there until the day I die. It was just after we'd finished dinner and were cleaning up the kitchen. I was washing the dishes at the sink, and as I reached to get another platter, I stopped in mid-turn, frozen in the moment. Janny was in Christine's arms, and the two of them just looked beautiful together. I had no idea how she'd gotten there, but they were both laughing, and it was so natural and real. As I never had before, I knew and understood that Janny and Damon were missing so much without a mother. Joy, that was the word. So easy to say, so hard to find in life sometimes. In the morning, I had to get back to work. I was still the Dragon Slayer. I shut myself away to think, to quietly obsess about Thomas Pierce and Mr. Smith. I made suggestions to Kyle Craig about moves that Pierce might make and precautions he should think about taking. Agents were dispatched to watch Pierce's apartment in Cambridge. Agents camped out at his parents' house outside Laguna Beach and even at the gravesite of Isabella Calais. Pierce had been passionately in love with Isabella Calais. She had been the only one for him, Isabella and Thomas Pierce. That was the key, Pierce's excessive love for her. "He's suffering from unbearable guilt," I wrote in my notepad. If my hypothesis is right, then what clues were missing? Back at Quantico, a team of FBI profilers was trying to solve the problem on paper. They had all worked closely with Pierce in BSU. Absolutely nothing in Pierce's background was consistent with the psychopathic killers they had dealt with before. Pierce had never been abused, either physically or sexually. There was no violence of any kind in his background, at least as far as anyone knew. There was no warning, no hint of madness, no sign, until he blew sky high. He was an original. There had never been a monster anything like him. There were no precedents. I wrote, "Thomas Pierce was deeply in love. You are in love, too. What would it mean to murder the only person in the world who you loved. I couldn't manage any sympathy or even a modicum of clinical empathy for Pierce. I despised him and his cruel, cold-blooded murders more than I had any of the other killers I had taken down, even Sinigi. Carl Craig and Sampson felt the same, and so did most of the Federal Bureau, especially the good folks in behavioral science. We were the ones in a rage state now. We were obsessed with stopping Pierce. Was he using that to beat our brains in? The following day, I worked at home. I locked myself away with my computer, several books, and my crime scene notepads. The only time I took off was to walk Damon and Janet to school, and then to have a quick breakfast with Nana. My mouth was full of poached egg and toast when she leaned across the kitchen table and launched one of her famous sneak attacks on me. "Am I correct in saying that you don't want to discuss your murder case with me?" she asked. "I'd rather talk about the weather or just about anything else. Your garden looks beautiful. Your hair looks nice." "We all like Christine very much, Alex. She knocked our socks off. In case you wanted to know but forgot to ask, she's the best thing that happened to you since Maria. So, what are you going to do about it? What are your plans?" I rolled my eyes back, but I had to smile at Nana's dawn offensive. "First, I'm going to finish this delicious breakfast you fixed. Then I have some dicey work to do upstairs. How's that?" "You mustn't lose her, Alex. Don't do that," Nana advised and warned at the same time. "You won't listen to a decrepit old woman, though. What do I know about anything? I just cook and clean around here." "And talk," I said with my mouth full. "Don't forget talk, old woman. Not just talk, sonny boy. Pretty sound psychological analysis, necessary cheerleading at times, and expert guidance counseling." "I have a game plan," I said, and left it at that. "You better have a winning game plan." Nana got the last word in. "Alex, if you lose her, you'll never get over it." The walk with the kids, and even talking with Nana, revitalized me. I felt clear and alert as I worked at my old roll top for the rest of the morning. I had started to cover the bedroom walls with notes and theories, and the beginnings of even more theories about Thomas Pierce. The pushpin parade had taken control. From the looks of the room, it seems as if I knew what I was doing, but contrary to popular opinion, looks are almost always deceiving. I had hundreds of clues, and yet I didn't have a clue. I remembered something Mr. Smith had written in one of his messages to Pierce, which Pierce had then passed on to the FBI. "The God within us is the one that gives the laws and can change the laws. And God is within us." The words had seemed familiar to me, and I finally tracked down the source. The quote was from Joseph Campbell, the American mythologist and folklorist who had taught at Harvard when Pierce was a student there. I was trying different perspectives to the puzzle. Two entrance points in particular interested me. First, Pierce was curious about language. He had studied linguistics at Harvard. He admired Noam Chomsky. What about language and words, then? Second, Pierce was extremely organized. He had created the false impression that Mr. Smith was disorganized. He had purposely misled the FBI and Interpol. Pierce was leaving clues from the start. Some of them were obvious. He wants to be caught. So why doesn't he stop himself? Murder? Punishment? Was Thomas Pierce punishing himself, or was he punishing everybody else? Right now, he was certainly punishing the hell out of me. Maybe I deserved it. Around 3 o'clock, I took a stroll and picked up Damon and Janny at the Sojourner Truth School. Not that they needed someone to walk home with them. I just missed the hell out of them. I needed to see them. Couldn't keep myself away. Besides, my head ached and I wanted to get out of the house, away from my thoughts. I saw Christine in the schoolyard. She was surrounded by little children. I remembered that she wanted to have kids herself. She looked so happy, and I could see that the kids loved to be around her. Who in their right mind wouldn't? She made it look so natural to be turning jump rope in a Navy business suit. She smiled when she saw me approaching across the schoolyard full of kids. The smile warmed the cockles of my heart, and all my other cockles as well. "Look who's taking a break for air," she said, 3 potato 4. When I was in high school, I told her as she continued to turn her end of the Dayglow pink jump rope, I had a girlfriend over at John Carroll. This was in my